Hi and welcome to my channel. Today we are working on standing forward bend or Uttanasana. For this session you would need a chair and it would be good if you have 2 yoga blocks as well. Let's get started. I am going to share with you 3 cues which will help you keep your body safe when bending forward to touch your toes. Cue number 1. When you bend forward, you're meant to bend from the hips and not so much from the spine. So what that means is when you want to bend forward and if your hamstrings are really tight, something like this happens. You get into this awkward posture where you're trying to reach the floor and you're just bouncing from your back. Your hamstrings are engaged to the very minimum. This doesn't help us. So we are going to work on bending forward the right way, which is our cue number 1, that is fold forward from the hips. This is how you work on your forward bending journey. Your spine stays flat, almost parallel to the floor. This is a time you can also use the chair to your advantage. Once you have the chair, the stress of holding this parallel spine or parallel torso position goes away and you can work exclusively on the hamstrings. If you're doing this, I'm sure you can already feel the backs of your legs engaging. So let's now move to cue number 2, which is to stack your hips above the ankles like this. Often what tends to happen is when we're bending forward, our hips fall behind our heels. So I want you to work on shifting the weight forward enough such that the hips are above the heels. This is your cue number 2. Cue number 3 is to take your navel to the spine. Don't let the belly be loose, because if you pull the navel to the spine, you are protecting your lower back, and that's really important. The back has some support and that will help you keep the posture safe. Now, progressing into this posture, what you can do is you can have a stack of blocks on your chair. You can bring your elbows down. Remember, your progress does not have to happen in a day. It can take weeks, months, or even years. When you practice this regularly for a period of time, maybe you will feel ready at some point to remove the blocks and come to the seat of the chair. If you would notice at this point, I have not yet brought my spine into the forward bend. We will bring that in shortly. The next level of progression will be bringing the blocks down, placing our hands on the blocks, and finding our way closer to the ground. All right, again, now I'll reduce the heights of the blocks, reduce them further. At some point in your practice, maybe you will be ready to remove the blocks altogether. Once you are here, once you made contact between the belly and the quads, that is when you can bring your spine into the mix. That is when you can also bring your neck into this forward bend. And we slowly start making our way towards the legs and start bending our head and neck to take them closer to our knees. And slowly, when you want to come out, inhale, look up, and come up all the way back. I'm going to recap this for you. Cue number 1, make sure you're bending from the hips and not from the spine. A good thumb rule is 70% of the bend should come from your hips and the lower body and 30% from the spine. Cue number 2, make sure the hips are stacked above the ankles. And lastly, cue number 3, make sure your navel is pulled in, your core is active and strong, so your lower back is well supported. That's it. You are good to go. Thank you so much for watching this. Have a safe practice.